What's up, New Hope family and friends? This is Jeremy coming to you live from the cab of my truck with a message about what you can expect this coming Sunday. Based on what we heard from the governor this last week, we've decided to begin in-person gatherings again on Sunday, June 7th. And based on restrictions to those gatherings, we're going to be offering 3 services, one at 8:30, 9:30, and 10:30. Our first 2 services are going to be a time of worship, prayer, communion, offering, and the reading of the word, all the things that are important for us while we're gathered together. Our third and final service will be that same time, but also include the preaching of the word. Our service at 8:30, we want to give preference to our folks who are at risk. Anybody who is over 65, immunocompromised, maybe has heart, lung, or kidney conditions, people who are asthmatic, and people who are diabetic. So we want, in much the same way that other stores in our community are, giving early hours and preference to those early times to folks who are at risk, we're going to do the same thing in our first service. Our second service, we would like to give preference to families with small children because we're not able to provide childcare. We understand that when we fully integrate our services, sometimes it's a little hard for our kiddos to make it through a sermon, a full-length sermon. And so we would encourage families with small children to attend that 9:30 service, and then encourage you also to go home and perhaps live stream the service by yourself, or maybe even have a watch party with family or friends. Watch that together, perhaps even share a meal together, and enjoy some of this fellowship that we're able to begin having now. Our service at 10:30 is going to be a full service, and so that will be open to anyone. And because our services are limited to 50 people, we're going to have people register ahead of time. You can register online at 4newhope.com. That's the number 4newhope.com. And if you're unable to access that, you can always contact Tina in the business office by email, by text, or by phone call, and go ahead and get your name on the list. In between each of those services, we will be thoroughly cleaning the facility, as has been required by the state and by the CDC, which is part of why we have a 20-minute gap in between each of those services. We want to ask you, when you come to service, as opposed to coming perhaps like maybe you normally do when you would come a half hour early and enjoy time in fellowship with your friends, we're asking you not to do that right now. Perhaps just to come about 10 minutes early. We were able to get in and to get a seat and be ready for the service. And that will allow, especially in between services, a time for us again to be able to clean and to make our services ready. The doors are going to be open, and I'll give you a tour here in just a minute about what that's going to look like. A couple things that are important for you to know. Kids, it's going to be really important for you to understand and for your kiddos to understand that your kids need to be with you. Normally at New Hope, when somebody walks in off the street, it's difficult to tell what kids belong to what people because our kids are free, able to run around. We all love one another. And so this is going to be a different time for our kids. So it's important that you help them understand that they need to remain with you, that they need to continue to social distance just like the rest of us are. And please hear me say you're responsible for them. So please take that seriously. The other thing is masks are going to be required. I don't know about you. I'm not entirely thrilled about that. I'll be honest, when you see me this Sunday, and you'll see me wearing a mask, that will be the first time I have worn a mask in the year 2020. Not because I have some moral opposition to it. I'm just not a big fan. And honestly, I haven't been a lot of places where I really needed to wear a mask, but because this is a requirement, I'm going to obey. I'm going to obey our civil leaders. And, I hope you understand. I want you to hear me say, I would do anything to be able to hang out with you this weekend. I really would. If the governor came out and told me that I had to wear stripes and polka dots and dye my beard orange, I would do it because I want to be with you. So please make sure that you come prepared with your masks. Anybody over the age of 2 is being required to wear a mask. If you don't have masks, we will have some available, but those quantities are limited. So please, if you have the ability, bring a mask of your own. Now, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to take you on a tour. We're going to hop out of my truck, and you're going to look at what the facility is going to look like. I'm going to help you understand what to expect when you get here. And I don't know about you, but I am fired up to see you soon. So you'll notice as you approach the church that the front doors will be open and the same greeters there to warmly greet you as they always do. Behind Jody, you'll see that the guidelines required by Washington State for the CDC are posted there for your reading pleasure. And as you approach the door, somebody will offer you some hand sanitizer to clean your hands when you walk through. So as you make your way inside the building, you'll notice behind me, the coffee shop is closed. There are no tables and chairs, as we're not encouraging people to sit and gather before or after the service. Unused areas like the nursery and children's classrooms are closed. Additional bathrooms are still available upstairs. When you're using the restroom, you'll notice that hygiene guidelines have been posted. Please make sure to observe those. You don't need a sermon on that. So as you make your way to the worship center, ushers will still be here to greet you like they normally do. No handshakes, no hugs, no bulletins, but still a friendly face.
Good morning.
The chairs have been spaced for social distancing. Please choose a section that is appropriate for the size of your family. You'll notice that some members of the worship team will not be wearing face masks as they are singing or speaking. That is by design and is approved by the CDC. In the back of the worship center, you'll find hand sanitizer, Kleenex, offering envelopes if you need, and prepackaged communion. Feel free to take one for each member of your family that'll be receiving communion that morning. As soon as the service is over, an usher will come to dismiss you row by row. You'll notice as you leave the worship center that there's a box for your offerings on your way out. Once you exit the worship center doors, we ask that you leave the facility promptly. We have to clean to turn the facility around for our next service. If you'd like to spend time in the parking lot to connect with your friends, we'd encourage you to do that. We're trying our best to operate within these restrictions, but we certainly encourage you to make the most of your time together. And for those of you attending the earlier services, again, want to remind you we are live streaming our 10:30 service, which will have the sermon. We'd even encourage you perhaps host a watch party at home. Invite some friends, have a meal, enjoy your time together. I don't know about you, I'm super excited to see so many of your faces this Sunday. We love you guys. God bless you. Have a Christ-filled week. Until we see you then.